Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how we can start a new document in Adobe Illustrator and why we might use it. So the main reason I like to use Adobe Illustrator is because it creates assets as a vector graphic as opposed to a bitmap graphic. So if you can imagine, I'll just show you this tab, you can imagine a bitmap is like a photograph. It's got lots of little squares of pixels, and when you zoom in it gets pixelated. That is, we can see those individual little squares and the details of them. A vector graphic is each of the shapes are actually made up of mathematical coordinates and definitions that describe that shape. So if we zoom in, what it does is it just recalculates how to display it, and it's always going to be this nice, really sharp, crisp design. So when you're drawing on Illustrator, you generally have blocks. It generally is quite often more of a simple design, but you can do very complex design like this. But the main thing we like about vector is it's what I like to call infinitely scalable. That is, you could make a logo and you could shrink it down to the size of your thumbnail, or you could blow it up to the size of a billboard on the side of a building, and it's always going to have the nice crisp edges. Whereas if you were to do something like this in, for example, Photoshop or Paint, if you were to blow it up the size of a building, it would lose quality. It would start to look really pixelated, and you'd see those little squares of color, which is a reason why you might choose one over the other. So in Adobe Illustrator, we're just going to open up our program, create new, and we're going to pick a new print A4 document. If you want, you can do A3. So we're going to make a new A4 document. I'm going to give it a name. I'm just going to call this test. You can call it whatever you like. I like to work in landscape because quite a few of my projects are in landscape, so it's just a bit of habit of mine. So you go portrait or landscape. If you are doing a kid's storybook or something where you want to have multiple pages, they're called artboards, so you can actually select more than one artboard. We're also going to change the measurements to millimeters. So generally, that's all I would change. I change the millimeters, the orientation, and the number of artboards if you want. A little bit more advanced would be bleed. If you're going to get your work professionally printed and you've got blocks of color, like this example down here, or an image where you want it to go all the way to the edge of the paper, and you're sending it out to get professionally printed on a machine that can do that, what they'll usually require is something like a 3mm bleed. That is, all of those background images get stretched 3mm past the page boundary. And what this bleed option does, it just gives you a red box around your A4 paper that you can clip your images to stretch them out. Okay, so I'm just going to put that back to 0. And then down here under advanced, you might need to tick that box, or click on that advanced options, is CMYK and RGB. And they're just two different color types. RGB is red, green, blue, and we'll use that for screens, for things that are going to be on monitors or screens or mobile devices, because that's how the screens display their color. CMYK is for anything that is printed, because cyan, magenta, yellow, and key being black, is how they print on paper. So all our printers in the world will convert your file into a CMYK file. And what can happen is if you work in RGB and you're like, I really like that shade of pink or red or whatever color you pick, in that conversion process, it will change it slightly. Now, for most people, that doesn't matter. But if you've spent ages agonizing over a particular color, you'll then need to play around and it might not end up being exactly the same. Okay, so pick CMYK for print, RGB for screens, and I'll also do a bit of a series on using RGB when we use Illustrator for laser cutter. So, just to reiterate, you go, give it a name, change to millimeters, pick your orientation, and let's all go create. So what we have here is our standard layout when we're using the essentials options. So we have our tools down the left, our page in the middle, we've got properties, layers, and libraries over on the side. And we'll come and use layers a lot later on, as well as some properties. Some simple shortcuts. Let's start with Control minus. So if we zoom out, plus zooms in, but Control minus zoom all the way out, I just want to show you how big this file is. So what I don't want you to do is, if you're drawing multiple characters or multiple assets, I don't want you to make a new Illustrator file for each one. what I want you to do is make use of this space. All of this space. Only what's on the page will get printed in the end, but we're designing and creating all these things on the outside, and then once they're done being drawn, we drag them in. So if we go to, if your color is not the same as mine, just go Edit, Preferences, User Interface, and on a Mac, I think it's under Illustrator, Preferences. And what we can do, I think the default is this dark color. You can actually go and change whatever color you want. You could even change the whole canvas color to white if that suits your preference and your eyes. I would imagine the darker color is probably a little bit better on your battery if you're not plugged into a wall, but I prefer this lighter color because it gives me the sense, or the illusion in some way, that it's more acceptable to draw out here. Doesn't matter what color it is, you can still draw out to the side, but I like to, when I start drawing, have contrast between my objects over here. Okay, so in the next video, I'll start getting into some of the more advanced techniques.